Hi everybody, Ballsy back with another CanWest Top 50 installment. It's our 9th show and we're into the top 10. Outstanding athletes all the way through. Very happy to be putting this on and giving our kids the notoriety they definitely deserve. Before we tell you who is number 10 to number 6, we're going to rewind to last week and show you how we got here. All right, Macho joining us now. And is that what you go by? Is that your nickname? Do you have a cool nickname, or because your name alone, which Macho's pretty cool?
Yeah, Macho was kind of a name that my mom had given me growing up, and it just kind of stuck. So I guess you call it a nickname or another name, but yeah, I'd say Macho.
What's the birth name?
Matthias.
Cool, that's awesome. Does your mom ever call you Matthias when she gets mad?
No, my grandma did though. That was scary. Yeah.
How did you piss off your grandma? What would you do as a young guy to tick off grandma?
Oh man, you wouldn't believe the ways I found to piss her off. Just running around, being a kid. Yeah, I don't know, but that's when I'd hear Matthias come out.
So Macho, a guy that plays for the Bisons, doesn't get drafted, then gets picked up as a free agent with the Blue Bombers. How does that feel?
Motivating, more than anything. It's motivating. I have a great opportunity ahead of me, and it motivates me that it didn't go exactly the path I had planned, getting drafted and whatnot, but the end result's the same. I'm here and I'm excited to continue working and prove some people wrong.
Yeah. Now, in terms of, taking off in the CFL career, it's kind of been halted with this pandemic. How have you used this time to get better?
I've used it to get ahead. And I feel like that's the only answer that people kind of want to hear. And it's the truth. There's definitely some stalking a bit at the beginning when our season had gotten pushed back, but it's gotten to the point where I just focus, keep my head down and train, and it's been the best way to spend my time.
Things in Manitoba have been locked down pretty good through this whole thing. So how have home workouts looked for you, or training looked for you?
It started out rough. Like when we were in Code Red over here and full on lockdown, I was just doing workouts in my basement and making do with what I had. Gyms are opened up now. You just got to work out with a mask. So we're slowly getting back to regular kind of training, and it's nice now the snow is clearing a bit so we can train outside whenever.
Coach Dobie said, and this isn't a cut down, he said this guy he maybe doesn't do one thing like head and shoulders above everything else. He does everything well. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, that's a fair assessment for sure. I've always leaned on my route running as my biggest separator between the rest of the guys around me and kind of what gets me open against DBs. But no, I do focus on trying to keep everything at a decently high level. Agreed.
So who helped you with route running? Was there a coach? Was there a teammate? Was there somebody that you watched that you helped, fine tune your game?
In my beginning years, it was all the guys around me, the older Bison guys that I'd see growing up in Winnipeg and kind of look to model my game after and learn from. And later years and more now, so I look at film from a couple receivers in the pros. Devontae Adams, for example, he's a guy that has a lot of tape that you can learn from in terms of route running, releases, and whatnot. So I try to study the guys that do it better than I do.
You're a Winnipeg kid. There's a couple of good Winnipeg boys on that Blue Bomber team that won a Grey Cup a couple of years ago. And Nick Dembski, the former Rough Rider, and of course Andrew Harris, stud tailback. How cool is that? How much do you look up to guys like that in Winnipeg playing for the Blue Bombers? Because I know what a big deal it would be in Saskatchewan for a lot of Saskatchewan Regina kids to play for the Rough Riders.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a huge deal. Those are the guys that coming up you kind of looked at and you really want it to be. And now getting to put in some work with Dembski in the off season, watching how these guys train up close, it's been an unbelievable learning experience, and a lot of time to learn ahead of me still.
Yeah. So in terms of training, is there something in particular that maybe you weren't doing that you picked up from those guys, or different ways to train? Is there something you can tell us about there?
Yeah. Training with Dembski and Keenan, which I did a lot of. Keenan LaFrance, that is also a Winnipeg guy that's with the Riders now. One thing I picked up outside of just consistency and, being there every day, chopping wood, carrying water, I also picked up the importance of mobility and flexibility and, the maintenance things that you got to start focusing on as you move on in your career. Because, we're only young for so long, right? We need these joints and these muscles.
Yeah, it's funny. Hey, do you think a guy like Tom Brady has really brought that to the forefront? I mean, he doesn't play a physical position, but he's winning Super Bowls at 43. He's not lifting heavyweights, but he's doing a lot of flexibility. And it's funny.
Exactly.
If you have 45 minutes to work out, Macho, a lot of guys, and I'm one of them, they'll cut out the 15 minutes of stretching to get more weightlifting, and that's not the way to go.
It's a tempting way, and that's the way we all gone about it at some point. But no, it's not exactly. Tom Brady's the benchmark for sustainability. He's sustained a high level of performance for so long. It's got to be the stretching, man. It's got to be the recovery we've been missing out on growing up.
Yeah, he might play forever, but chances are Macho won't play forever, and that's no cut down. So what did you take in school? What would you like to do away from the football field whenever your career is done?
Exactly. It's the biggest thing has been throughout my university degree, get both done, get the education and the degree done, put 100% into your football as well. And I graduated in finance and marketing last year at the U of M. And I plan on working in finance as my career in the CFL continues and afterwards.
Yeah, it's not always glamorous being a student athlete. I've been trying to get this interview done. You and I have been jumping through hoops doing this. You say, I gotta work. Where do you work your part-time job at, buddy, if you don't mind me asking you?
I was doing a full-time work 6-month term, actually, with plans of stopping about 2 weeks ago, which I did in preparation for the season. With the season, we don't have a firm start date now, but yeah, I was at Patterson Grain doing logistics there. So it was within the business realm that I was studying in school, and that was a good 6-month term I put in, and I plan on going back, if all things go well, going back every off season and kind of being able to work in my field while I'm training in the off season and then focus on the season for the 6 months when I'm there.
That's awesome, man. You seem like a really bright guy. Did the contacts through the Bisons help you get that job?
No, actually, nothing to do with the Bisons. I got invaluable experience, though, I'm sure, and that helped having that asset. But it was just through going through school, and you get a career portal that you have access to. You're competing with the other business students and taking the traditional education route.
That's awesome, man. Okay, so you're kind of in limbo now. You don't know about what's going to happen with the Blue Bombers in the CFL. Depending how it goes at the CFL level, whether we play or not, whether you make the team or not. If let's say things just don't work out, because the one thing you're going to have a problem with, and a lot of guys will, is you won't get a regular training camp because it's going to be compacted, right? Even if they're probably not going to start, like they're not starting on time. Okay, so it's going to be a different season, a shorter season. So the training camp is probably not going to get as good a look as you normally would. So if that happens and you don't get a fair shot this year, would you go back to the Bisons for one more year, take a couple classes, because you still do have eligibility?
Yeah, I do. It's something I would consider. That's plan A is the one I'm sticking to and making the team the first time around. And that's no knock on a potential plan B and going back to. I'm just not focusing my energy on that. But if it were to come, I'd be open to going back. You get only a few years to play college football. I'd enjoy it and then work to go back to the Bombers there the year after.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one last question. I've asked other guys this. Who else not on your team do you like watching play on another team in the CanWest? Could be another fellow receiver, could be a DB you go against. Is there somebody you respect, you like watching?
You know what? I liked Abrams Webster, DB from Calgary.
Yeah.
And I don't like anyone from Calgary. So it was saying something, but I thought he just moved really well with guys. Not like game film I saw from him and the short bit that he was training with us at the East-West All-Star game a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I don't mind him at DB at all. I think he's talented. I also who do we got, man? It's tough to give credit to these other players that you go against all the time, but no. We've had
like
some.
when you watch not to put words in your mouth, but when you watch a Jaylen Philpott, or you watch some of those guys, you know what I mean. You gotta have some mutual respect there, as I'm sure he would watching you play.
100%. And now that you mentioned some of these names, I realized 2019 was a full 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I almost
I know.
forgot some of the guys we played against. But no, I remember the Philpott twins. It was a Jayden and Tyson. Those kids were phenomenal for their age.
Yeah.
Moved well in and out of their breaks. Were deep threats down the field right from the get-go when they got in the league. Those are two guys I also enjoyed watching out of Calgary as well.
And I guess when you see a guy like Philpott or the Philpotts, or, you know, pick a receiver like a Boersma in Regina, he makes a play or makes a couple of catches. I'm pretty sure Macho's on the sidelines going, I got to do something, right? There's a little game within the game.
There's always a game within the game, you know, and you don't pay any attention to that. That's just inherent. It comes with it. Definitely, though. You know, those guys putting up numbers puts the pressure on me and vice versa for them, right?
Yeah. Hey, man, this has been fun. I hope you make the Bombers. I hope I'm watching you play football somewhere in 2021. Thanks for your time, bud.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Michael.
Here with Alberta Golden Bears safety Jayden Dalke. I guess I should say all-Canadian safety in 2019. You're smiling like a butcher's dog. Let's go back and talk about that season. I know it feels like 18 years ago, but just your initial thoughts on your first season in U Sports football.
I thought my first season went pretty well. Like, especially after the first game, you know, there's some nerves when you're switching leagues, and didn't know what to necessarily expect playing CIS, and especially playing Dinos. Heard a bunch of good things about Calgary Dinos and everything like that. So playing that first game and getting that one out of the way, I felt like made a statement as to how my team was going to be through that season, because that was the first time in a long time for me playing football that I didn't feel like anybody quit on my team, you know, like at halftime or anything until later of the games. Like they were there. Everybody was in it and everybody bought in. So that was a great feeling. So
your coach tells me, obviously you're 6'2", you got some good range, you got some good speed. He said you're great sideline to sideline, and you can hit. What's is hitting your favorite aspect of the game?
I don't think I'm allowed to say that anymore, but I mean, yeah.
You can only make a game so safe, though. I mean, I have a son playing the game too, and at some point, you know what your kid signed up for. And at some point, as a young man, you know what you signed up for.
You sign a waiver. It's a contact sport, so I think hitting is an integral part of football and how I play it, especially.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Jayden, as you look at your off season and the long off season that it's been, almost 2 years here.
Yeah.
It's been kind of positive for you, though, in the sense that you had an injury that you know, tell us about that injury, and now you're on the road to recovery. So you don't want to get injured, but I guess if you're going to get injured, it might as well be in a time where you're not playing football.
Yeah, so it happened last October, and I twisted awkwardly and tore my meniscus, and MRI showed one little 1-inch section that seemed to be the problem area, and I just got surgery here in March, and it was the rest of my meniscus was floating in my knee, so needed to get that all sorted and repaired.
So just that 1 inch was the only part that was good?
Yeah, and then the rest of it was just floating, flipping, doing whatever it felt like. So yeah, my knee didn't feel 100% then, but feels smooth now. Probably better than my other knee.
That's hilarious. So you deferred your draft year. Was that the main reason why? Because you got hurt, or was that always going to be always in the back of your mind?
No, I think it was always in the back of my mind. Like I said, I really enjoyed my first year playing at U of A. I enjoyed meeting all these great people, playing with them all, and why wouldn't I want one more year to play with them? Like I really wanted to play with U of A till I aged out. So, and then see where the draft and combine happens after that. So.
Yeah. So Coach Morris said he wishes you would have came earlier to the program. How do you feel about that?
I felt like I was trying to do something at Cats. I was really trying to at the junior level. I was really trying to switch the program around from what what their streak and they weren't the winningest team, and I was trying to help that in any case. And I just developed a great connection with everybody there. So similar to here, I know it would have been the same thing here, but I was already on that team, so I just aged out. And but yeah, Morris did want me before. We had that open communication the whole time, so
you guys are in kind of a similar boat here with the Edmonton, or with the Alberta Golden Bears in Edmonton, in that you're trying to put this thing on the rails consistently. Like the last couple of years, they've been sniffing around, but nothing consistently. And Chris is trying to do it with the right kind of guy, the right kind of human, the right kind of athlete, the right kind of student. You feel like in 2021, you guys will be able to get on the radar and start shaking and baking, as it were?
I love that term, shake and bake, baby. Hell yeah, of course. I think so. I really do. I think we have the right people in the right positions, and the depth at the position. There's a lot of young, crazy talented kids that Morris is finding, and they're coming and they're enjoying what we're doing. So I think I think we're definitely on the upswing.
Got a new defensive coordinator in Tom Higgins, longtime CFLer, both as a coach, GM, and at the ref level. How will things change for Jayden Dalke in the defense, as opposed to having Greg Knox, kind of the mad scientist, as your D coordinator?
A mad scientist, that's another good description. Yeah, it's definitely a switch in mentality so far. Higgins is definitely a lot more of a level-headed mindset when it comes to his approach to football, but he's a genius, just like Knox was. Like, they're both very adept of their positions as coaches now. And how does it change for me? As of right now, I believe we're going to keep me at free safety, and just might not be in different zones. Might just be moving down into bump and run man and playing a little bit more center of the field than I was last year.
What's your dog's name?
Yeah, that one's Lily, and then there's probably gonna be another bigger dog that's gonna start barking, and that one's Ryder.
Well, I've got a dog, Ian, a little Multi-Poo outside the door. I shut the door here so he wouldn't bark. He's actually on the bed behind me.
Yeah.
He's Ed McWhorter's Ryder jersey. So yeah, and as soon as your dog Lily barked, he started to bark and ran upstairs.
Ears perk up and start looking
right,
down.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that. Do you have a sense of, like, are you a student of the game? Do your ears perk up and eyes perk up? Like, can you read a play before it happens? Are you a student of the game?
I would like to think that I have some intuition when it comes to me being on the field. I don't necessarily painstake go over film as much as some of my other like close guys on the team. Like, those guys really grind out film. But I like to think I can feel what's about to come in the right circumstance, for sure. Yeah. Been doing this for like 19 years now.
I know, it's a long time for sure. So go back to something you said there quickly. You said Tom Higgins seems to be have a more level-headed, details-oriented approach as opposed to Greg Knox Jr. Not to say Greg Knox wasn't a great coach, but is it easier for you to play in Knox's style, or, as you said, in a more level-headed setup?
So for that question, I really did enjoy playing in Knox's defense, just because it was something I haven't experienced before. Like, there was some other defenses that I was in where it was a lot of more complicated movements and moving parts, especially in the back end, like moving untraditional zone coverages and everything like that. So it's kind of more back to basics at this point with Higgins, as he gets a feel for who we are as players and how we work as a unit. But I think overall, as a group, I think it'll work a lot better with Higgins, for especially some of the younger players getting onto the field and working with us in that sense. So for me, I definitely enjoyed a little bit more of the chaos that you can bring and drum up in Knox's, but I'm more confident in others around me knowing their responsibilities in Higgins defense.
I'll get to my last football-oriented question in a second, but you're a business student, I believe. What's your goal? What's your goal off the field? What do you want to do once football's done? You've been doing it 19 years, but you'll still be a young guy whenever your football life ends, whether that's next year or whether you play in the CFL. You're still going to have half a life, buddy. What are you going to do?
Well, I have been working in construction since I was 14, and I started full-time right out of high school, and am now a site supervisor for the company I work for. So I'm hoping to use my business degree, finish my carpentry after that, and become what they call a blue seal in the trades. And from that point, it's a little bit unclear, but I think that opens up a lot of really interesting possibilities for me in that industry.
Oh yeah, you got the best of both worlds. You're using your mind and you can use your hands. You got a girlfriend?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. You're a keeper, buddy. Hey, is that a family business, or is that like, how did you get hooked into that?
Yeah, my dad owns a company, and
nice.
Yeah, so it's been good. It's been.
So do you work pretty closely with your dad?
For some of the in-town stuff, him and I work kind of directly, but then a lot of the out-of-town, like mine sites or oil sites or anything like that, I usually deal with directly our construction manager, who's in Victoria.
So you and dad fight?
No, we never worked that closely.
Smart.
If we're on the tools together, it'd probably be different, but
very smart. Okay, so let's go on the premise your knee comes back 100%, you're ready to go. And it looks like you're going that way. What is your personal goal this year? Where does a guy go from being an All-Canadian? Like, I know you want to win a Vanier Cup. I know all that stuff. Everybody will tell me that. But what's Jayden Dalke's 2021 goal?
Play every game like it's my last game, man. I really just plan on having fun. Like, I just want to be there. I want to be on the field, feel that atmosphere again, and feel the excitement of playing again, being out of it for this long. That's going to come back like a whirlwind, and I'm just going to hold on for the ride, man.
That's awesome. That's a great way to end it. But what's the one thing about football that you kind of didn't like that you really miss now? You know, like where you're like, oh, no, we got to do that. But now you're like, I'll do it 10 times.
One thing, probably one-on-ones.
Yeah.
I'm never a big fan of one-on-ones. No? I think it's a big disadvantage to DBs, and it irritates me. But now I'd probably be okay with it.
I love it. And Jayden, thanks for this, man. Best of luck in your recovery from your knee surgery, and can't wait to see you in the green and gold of the Golden Bears.
Thank you. You have a good day.
All right, here with Calgary linebacker Charlie Moore. I think I can say that safely, whether it's Dinos or Stamps.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty excited to be taken by the Stampeders in this past draft year.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. You don't have to move cities, which is, I mean, that's even facilities for that matter.
Definitely, yeah. It was just a quick walk down the hall, as everyone's kind of been saying. I was actually just down at the facility a couple days ago here. And they fit me for gear and everything pretty early, which is kind of nice.
So were you expecting to go to Calgary? Did you do many interviews with all the teams? Did you have a good idea with them or what?
Yeah, so Calgary is actually the first team I had an interview with. I did speak to every team in some degree or another, but I wasn't really too sure where I was headed or what round so I was kind of going in blind, but I think deep down I kind of wanted Calgary to take me, and I think it was a bit of a blessing in disguise getting to stay in Calgary.
Yeah, I don't know if you can really put a price tag. I don't know if that's the way to put it, but I don't know if you can really weigh how good it is to stay in the same facility, same surroundings when you're trying to make a pro team. I think that's invaluable.
Definitely, yeah. No, I'm pretty fortunate, I think, to be just making that quick little walk. I think it'll be a pretty easy transition for me, and I think hopefully everything works out well. Either way, if I'm staying with the Stamps or going back to the Dinos for my final season, I think it's going to be great either way.
Yeah, and I've talked to other guys about this too. It's going to be an interesting year because it's a short season. There are 2 draft classes. So it might be a thing where like maybe you don't make it this time and it's only because just circumstance, right?
Yeah, definitely. But we'll see. I'm going to be competing either way, and hopefully everything works out well.
Oh, for sure. What have they told you? What are their expectations? Have you really, I know you got fitted for gear, but what has Huffnagel or any of those guys told you?
Yeah, so I think the expectation for me is to contribute right away on specials, and that's also my goal, I'd say. And then hopefully second year I can get some rotation in with the linebacking unit there.
Hey, Charlie, when did you think, hey, I could be a pro? Did it ever, like during your time with the Dinos or maybe high school or something coming out of the BC area where you're like, yeah, I could be a professional footballer?
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's kind of something I've always wanted since I was really little. I mean, I played community football for the South Delta Rams starting at like age 6 or 7 or something. So I've been playing football most of my life, at least most of my life that I remember.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for me, it wasn't really until basically the draft process and, going through the combine and everything where it started to feel like it was actually something that was attainable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still, I guess, setting in for me that I'm actually going to be a professional athlete at this point.
What was your draft night like? What was that like for you? Who were you with? What'd you do?
Yeah, so I had my girlfriend with me, and I was at one of my teammates' houses. So I had a couple buddies. It was a pretty small group, but I don't know. We were just sitting there watching the TSN coverage, and then we switched over to Stavros Katsantonis' YouTube coverage there of the later rounds.
Yeah.
And we were basically just waiting for it all to kind of refresh, and then I remember my phone going off, and yeah, it was a pretty surreal experience. I definitely was a bit in shock that whole night, and I think the next day as well. But it's feeling real now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, so your buddy Grant McDonald, you guys have been running mates all the way back the South Delta days. I think even lacrosse players. This will be the first time you haven't been teammates in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've been playing rugby. Actually, we started playing lacrosse before we were even playing football together. Wow. But so lacrosse, rugby, and football basically the whole way through. Both of us were always kind of the big contact guys, and we'd always play these positions with the most contact available. So it was pretty cool, getting to play side by side with each other for all those years. But it'll be even cooler, I think, now to play against each other, especially on rival teams here. The Labor Day Classic's gonna be pretty good.
It's funny you bring that up because I brought that up to him. Can you imagine Charlie Moore, Grant McDonald, special teams banging heads in the Labor Day Classic? That'd be cool.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping I get a few reps against him here. Show him who's boss.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the Dinos. What was it like to finally get over the top and win this thing, a Vanier Cup, and to do it with your buddy Grant McDonald?
It was pretty surreal. I mean, since I started getting recruited, that was kind of always one of the goals I've had, and that was a big draw for me coming to Calgary. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to, compete at kind of the national level, and I think Calgary really offered a great experience for that. And it's been a tough few years, battling, getting real close, and then a pretty upsetting Hardy Cup loss there, mm-hmm. the 2018 season. But I think I don't know, it was pretty surreal. We worked so hard all that 2019 season. Quite a few guys were injured and stuff, and myself included in the final game there. I wish I could have contributed a bit more, but that's football. But I think it was pretty special, getting to experience that win with all the guys that have been working so hard with my whole university career, and some of them, like you say, even high school and younger.
Grant said it had a different feel right from the start of the year. Did you have that sense too?
Yeah, I mean, it had a similar feel to our provincial championship team, I'll say, when we won in 2014 with our high school team. Mm-hmm. I say, I don't know, there's kind of just this, like, everyone's kind of on the same page, and you're going to do whatever it takes to win. And I think everyone kind of knew that was the goal, and we're going to do it that year.
A favorite place to play in the CanWest besides, obviously, Calgary? Like a road game, where do you like to play?
I think for me, it's got to be UBC, just because, I get quite a few of my friends back home showing up and family members and stuff. So it's kind of nice having a few familiar faces in the crowd. And, Thunderbirds Stadium is pretty fun to play at. Plus the weather's normally a bit kinder, I'll say, than a couple of the other stadiums.
Yeah. So who do you like watching, or who do you really respect in the CanWest besides anybody in your team? Take the Dinos out of it. Is there a player you like watching, like going up against somebody you really respect?
Yeah, so I guess I'll give you two examples here. I'll say the one guy I think I respect the most is probably Dez from Manitoba, their quarterback. That guy is an absolute beast. He'll go no matter what. Like, our defense has put some serious licks on him, and he'll keep throwing that ball. But I think the one guy that really kind of stands out is Adam Mackard. That guy's a pretty solid running back, and I think he'll have a great career in the CFL as well.
Yeah, for sure. And lastly, Charlie, what makes you a good football player? What's your best attribute? What do you think turned the Stampeders onto your game?
You know, I think I play fast and I play hard, and I think that's probably the biggest thing. You know, I'm a pretty vocal guy on the field, and I think that also helps. But for me, I think it's probably my aggression and my speed that I play with. You know, I'm gonna get there wherever I have to be, and that's kind of the mentality I've kind of always played with.
You're a polite, well-spoken guy. Let me squeeze one more in here then. So football, whether you play 10 years for the Stamps or whatever, you still have the rest of your life. What are you doing in school? What do you want to do off the football field? Grant said he wants to be a firefighter. What about you?
That's funny you should say that, because that's also the plan for me. So I'm currently finishing up my Bachelor of Science in Geography. I've got about 4 option courses left, and then I'm all done. And I think the goal for me is, you know, firefighting back in BC somewhere. I haven't really decided where I want to live, but I think I'll figure that out later. But I think firefighting is definitely the career path I want to take.
Okay, so you and him are like brothers from another mother, right?
Yeah, basically. It's pretty funny as well, because Grant's dad, Bruce McDonald, he was actually our linebacker coach basically our entire way through community football and high school. So I'm pretty close with their family, I'll say.
That's awesome. And I asked him this question, so I'll ask his brother Charlie Moore the same question. Did you go to school to play football? And I don't mean that negatively, but like, what do you like? You want to be a firefighter? What really translates in school to firefighting? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for me, when I was first kind of deciding what I wanted to take in university, back in high school, I remember I was kind of drawn to business, and that was what I was initially taking when I was in school. But I'm not a huge math guy.
Yeah.
I probably could have put a few more hours in my studying my first year. Yeah. So my grades suffered a bit, and I was really struggling with the calculus course. So I ended up switching degrees, and that was kind of, I guess, like a big turning point for me. But it also kind of helped because I was able to, you know, find a job, or not job, but a career, I guess, where I was able to be a bit more physical, because I'm a pretty physical guy. I don't think I'd be able to sit at a desk kind of all day.
Right.
I really wanted to, you know, find a job where I had a good work-life balance and I was able to give back. So I think firefighting is kind of the perfect thing for that.
You know what, man? That's a really honest answer, and I appreciate your honesty. So lastly, I guess I'm squeezing one more in here for you, Charlie.
No worries.
Do you have any advice for a young student athlete watching this who is, maybe in high school or something, just thinking about, trying their path at university, and then who knows, maybe pro football? Do you have a piece of advice you'd like to impart?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really been kind of a guy who's been super highly recruited or, you know, had a ton of accolades, but I think as long as you're willing to kind of work and set your mind on a goal, you can kind of achieve it as long as, you know, you keep pushing. It might be tough and it might take a while, but you'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good piece of advice for everybody in life, man. Yeah. That's good. I like talking to some of you young guys. You get me going. I love it. Hey, congratulations, man. I mean, I'm a rider broadcaster, so I can't really say the Stampeder logo looks great, but Mark Mueller's my buddy, so I'm okay. I don't mind cheering for the Stampeders. I like him, and actually, I'll say it quietly, Bo Levi Mitchell's kind of become a friend too, so maybe Charlie Moore. Thanks for this, man. I appreciate it. Congratulations. You're on our list. Actually, you're in our top 10, so I'll let you know that.
Right on. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Here with Manitoba Bisons defender Brock Gowanlock, also a draft pick of the Montreal Alouettes. Before I get to all of that, look at that sweet uni, Vancouver Grizzlies. What jersey's that?
It's John Morant. I think he's a pretty cool player. He's a super exciting young guy in the league, and yeah, it's like it was between him and Bibby, so I had to go with Ja for this jersey.
That's pretty cool. I think if Vince Carter had been drafted in Vancouver, not Toronto, and Big Country Reeves went to Toronto, maybe the Grizzlies are still here and the Raptors aren't, because Vince Carter kind of really helped build that team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would be awesome. I hope we get a team again in the future. It would be awesome to have another team back here in BC.
Were you a two-sport athlete or a multi-sport athlete coming up as a young kid?
Yeah, not so much as a kid. Well, I tried a couple different sports as a kid. I played basketball. I played hockey for a year or two, and then I got into rugby. So yeah, I played rugby in high school. And yeah, those are kind of my two sports, was football and rugby for sure, that I would say.
So were you a football player in high school as well, or just a rugby player? Because I know a guy on the list here, actually one of your teammates, Nick Thomas, he never played high school football. He just played rugby. So was that the case with you too?
No, that's not the case with me. I played football since I was 8 years old, and then I picked up rugby in high school, whereas like he kind of did the vice versa. Yeah. But I've been playing football forever.
Well, Brock, you're interesting because you played for the Langley Rams. You were an interior guy, and you were a big boy. Like, you were over 300 pounds. Talk about how you transformed not only your weight, but your position.
Yeah, so coming out of junior, I just kind of relied on my weight and everything like that. I didn't do too much training. It sounds terrible to say, but yeah, I didn't do a whole lot of training outside of football. When I would work out, I would just be like doing bench press and deadlifts and stuff like that. I wasn't worried about too much cardio and all that kind of stuff. I just used to being a big boy and kind of being able to lean in on people and push them back. So once I got to university, I had some guys put some work in on me for sure. Being a big boy doesn't really work when you're going up against guys who are CFL starters nowadays. So going into my next season, my second year with the Bisons, I really wanted to get into better shape and to be able to kind of, be a little bit more agile, use my athleticism and stuff like that. So yeah, going into my second year, I just talked with my strength and conditioning coach, and he kind of gave me some tips and tricks. He said, like, kind of cut out carbs, and I kind of did a lot of research into nutrition and stuff like that. And I looked into going gluten-free and sugar-free and a lot of things like that. I had a lot of terrible habits that I had to kick, but once I kicked them, I was pretty lucky. My genetics must be pretty good, because I shed 70 pounds in 4 months or something like that. So yeah, just with hard work and looking into some nutrition and stuff like that and just getting rid of old habits. Yeah, it worked out pretty well for me.
So give us your dimensions. I know we saw it on screen again, but give us your dimensions. What are you at right now?
I'm just under 6'3". I'm 6'2" and 7/8", and I'm 235 pounds.
Awesome. Great. You feeling good at that weight. What's your best pass rush move?
I like the chop. I like the cross face chop and then bend the corner. That's for sure probably my favorite move. I used to really like the inside swim, but as swim, you kind of got to be a bit taller. So it's kind of something I had to reduce out of my arsenal for sure. You
had half a sack and a good handful of tackles the last time the Bisons were on the field in that thrilling loss in the semifinal in the playoffs to Calgary. What do you remember about that game? That was a nail biter.
Yeah, it was crazy. Honestly, I just remember just not even paying attention to the scoreboard or anything like that. And everybody on our team too, Des Catelier, our quarterback, man, that guy's a legend around the University of Manitoba. He kept everybody composed on the offense. We did our best to keep everybody composed on the defense. On special teams, we were trying to fly as much as we could. Obviously, some things went out of our fortune early in the game, and Calgary got up on us, but we never lost hope. And we knew from earlier in the season that we could handle those guys. We played with them, or we beat them at home there. So yeah, it was just kind of coming down to the crunch of it. And I'll never forget the last series on defense that we kind of had there. It was second and long, and we made a couple plays on defense. All of a sudden, the Calgary's punting to us, and next thing you know, we hit a Hail Mary and we're going for two, and we're hopefully knocking off who would obviously be the future Vanier Cup champs. It was a tough game, but it was awesome to be a part of something like that for sure.
You're an 8th round selection of the Montreal Alouettes. Kind of weird for you. That was in the 2020 draft. That seems like a decade ago. What did it feel like to get drafted? And where does your kind of football future sit right now as it relates to the Alouettes?
Yeah, honestly, it was amazing. Not too many people where I'm from get drafted and get the opportunity to play pro sports. So it was obviously a crazy COVID draft, and the combine getting canceled and everything like that. And I was actually visiting with some really close family or really close friends I consider as family in Maple Ridge, BC. They had a home gym and they offered to put me up and let me train there while everything was shut down. So I was there for the draft, and lucky enough, my mom and brother got to come. So it was honestly it was an amazing day. It was amazing. It was the perfect thing that I could ever ask for. It was just me and people who are super close to me. And, you know, at the end of the day, we got drafted, and it was an awesome experience for sure.
So where does it stand right now, Brock? I know nobody really knows with the CFL, but obviously you're going to hopefully go to a training camp with the Montreal Alouettes, but you might not get a fair shot there if you do go. And the only reason I'm saying that, it's going to be abbreviated probably.
Yeah. So right now, I signed my contract with Montreal. It's a 2-year contract, just a rookie contract. And yeah, as of right now, I haven't heard much. The CFLPA has been doing the best to keep us updated, but there's not a whole lot going on. We're just in negotiations right now with how we can kind of make the season happen. So yeah, I just hope to make it to training camp and, you know, get an opportunity, and then the rest is on my shoulders, right?
Mm-hmm, for sure. You're in the top 10 in our top 50. How does that make you feel?
Pretty good, honestly. Yeah, for sure. It's always awesome to receive some recognition. You know, I obviously wouldn't be up here without lots of guys obviously on the team. You know, our defense is pretty good at Manitoba. We had lots of good D linemen, and, you know, it's just it's just kind of a part of playing football, and, you know.
Yeah. How does a guy from Duncan, BC, who I'm talking to in Victoria, BC, end up 3 provinces over in the cold winterland of Winnipeg? And I say that with all due respect, because I'm coming to you from Regina, so we like to say a smaller Winnipeg, or at least they refer to us as a smaller Winnipeg. How do you end up 3 provinces over, man?
Yeah, just honestly, I was playing junior for Langley. We had lots of guys. Lots of our coaches were a part of that 07 Vanier team in Manitoba. And just honestly, Coach Brian Dobie did a great job of recruiting. And, you know, University of Manitoba has been known to send D linemen up to the CFL. So I just took a couple of those things into consideration, and it was just seemed like the right fit for me, and it turned out to be pretty good for sure.
Never mind CFL, Onyemata in the NFL. Let's not forget about him. That's a pretty big deal. 2 more quick questions for you. As I talk and we tape this thing, you're doing some concrete work. Are you pretty good with your hands? Do you like that manual labor, or does it give you an appreciation of, hey, I want to make the CFL?
Yeah. For sure. You know, it's funny because I went to University of Big Boy, so the last thing I ever really wanted to do was labor work. But now that I've been back, it hasn't been bad at all, honestly. You know, trades work's always fun. You know, you're working with lots of guys who are very similar to athletes and stuff like that. So it's kind of a fun environment, and I haven't disliked it at all, honestly. It's been hard work, but, you know, with like everything that comes good, there has to be some sort of sacrifice. So I've been learning a lot, so I've been enjoying it.
Brock, who do you like to go against? A rival guy in the league? Is there somebody you get up for every time you play them? Somebody on Calgary on the line? Maybe U of S, U of R, somebody like that.
I love playing Calgary. I don't know why it is, but I just love playing Calgary. Logan Bandy for sure he's a different animal. He was really good. Carter O'Donnell was another really good player who I went up against, obviously making it to the NFL. But yeah, I definitely like going up against Logan Bandy. You know, he's a guy I really respect in the league, and I think he's going to be a pretty high draft pick this year. So good luck to him for sure.
They don't cover up that tat. Show it to us. Is that the only? Is that you got a sleeve? Okay, so is that the only tat situation you got, or you got him anywhere else?
Yeah, that's all I got going on right now. I hopefully going to be able to come down here and cover up these scars. But yeah,
okay.
That's all I got going on right now.
So is that a lion, or what is that?
Yeah, it's a lion and with the crown.
And okay, so what's the significance of that tattoo?
It's just, honestly, this is like I come from a British background. My grandparents are British, so this is like a British crown. And back in like English times, they would refer to like the protector of the kingdom as Sir Lion, so and so. So I kind of take that. And then the rose is for it's honestly for my mom. You know, me and her have kind of had a little bit of a kind of bashy relationship growing up. So even though she can be a little bit of a thorn in my side, you know, I still see beauty in the relationship. So yeah.
Doesn't matter how you bang heads with your mom, you still gotta love her, man. If not for her, you wouldn't be here right now.
Exactly. I love her more than anyone for sure. So yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much. Sweet jersey, and I can't wait to see you on some sort of football field.
Appreciate it, Mike. Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Nick Cross, a high draft pick. You were a high draft pick yourself. Just talk about what kind of game he has, and what we can expect from him at the CFL level that we're already seeing.
Nick, to me was honestly, obviously I'm biased because he's he played for me here, but I thought he was one of the top players, if not the top player in the draft. Just in terms of everything that he could do. I do think that he could be one of the few Canadians that could play that Sam, that halfback position if he needed to, and just has that dog mentality. Just works extremely hard. Might not say as much as other guys, but just his work ethic and just what he brings to the football team and his intensity is unmatched. I think he's going to be, right out the gate. I think he's going to be one of the top special team players, at least for Hamilton, if not for the league. And then from there, I think he's definitely going to get a shot to play on defense. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of people once he gets that chance. He can be a 10-year pro, and that wouldn't surprise me at all, and become an all-star because he's that good.
What kind of pressures come with being a high draft pick like that? Like, you were even higher than him with the Rough Riders. What kind of expectations come when you're picked that high?
Yeah, I think there's always, some pressure, but I think it's mostly the pressure that you put on yourself, right? And so, you always try to tell the kids that, you want to be the best player that you can be. You want to work hard and do all the best you can, but you just got to work within yourself, right? So you got to just go in every day, try to get better, try to learn as much as you can, and kind of block all that outside noise. And most players have higher expectations for themselves than the media does. So, just don't take the pressure that you put on yourself too hard, and just take it day by day and just keep working and just trying to keep getting better.
Here with Manitoba Bisons receiver Gavin Cobb. Now, people are like, who the heck is Gavin Cobb? Well, he hasn't played in the league yet, but he comes to the USPORTS level, CanWest football, from Simon Fraser University. First off, how was your time there with Simon Fraser, my friend?
Oh, it was good. There was definitely ups and downs, and honestly, I can't appreciate enough the support I had at SFU and all the guys, the coaches, and everybody. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for everybody at SFU. So I just want to start off and have all due respect for all those guys at SFU, and I wish the best for them. But it was just my time to leave, I think.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Why the move now, and why the move to Manitoba?
Well, going into the 2020 season, where there's a lot of uncertainty around who is going to be our head coach at SFU, and this was before COVID had even started. And for me, I was going into my last year, and I didn't want to have a lot of uncertainty going into my last year of playing college football, because I really wanted to showcase what I can do and not have to worry about any kind of outside stressors, basically, things that I can't control, and I was going to control what I can do. And at the time, for me, I felt the best move was to transfer elsewhere and try to showcase my talents in the USPORTS league.
Yeah. So what led you to the Prairies, Manitoba? How did Brian Dobie get you to come to Winnipeg?
Well, honestly, I think it was just the relationship that we had built when I was in high school, because he recruited me out of high school, and he was one of the coaches that, was really, I remembered the kind of guy he was, and the kind of, he remembered the kind of guy I was, and I had a great relationship. So I as soon as I kind of figured, I think I need to get out from SFU, he was the first guy I called. And, I just asked him if it was a possibility, and he was super excited to make it happen. So yeah, it's kind of how everything went.
What's the furthest east you've been?
Furthest east I've been, I think I went out to Toronto once or twice.
I was going to say, not counting Toronto.
Yeah,
I guess the better way to put it, have you ever been to the Prairies?
No. Actually, yes, I went to Winnipeg in 2013 for the Red River Cup.
Okay. Oh yeah, right. For the showcase, football showcase. But
yeah,
that was in the summer. You've never been there. You've never been there in the fall when it gets a little cooler.
No, that was my first experience of the Prairie autumn season. I didn't even get to experience winter.
Yeah. Has anybody warned you about any of that?
Oh yeah, everybody said that. I told people, hey, I'm going to go to Winnipeg for the fall season coming up, and they're like, why would you want to go see all the snow and negative 30-degree weather? And I was like, it's something I think every Canadian should have to experience.
I love that. I love that attitude. Hey, you're going to a football team that has a real good quarterback in Des Catelier.
Yes. Tell
me about that. Have you had a chance to talk to him, do Zoom stuff? Have you guys done anything in terms of that type of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I threw with Dez, I guess last May. He came out to Vancouver for a little bit, or last March or something, and we got together then and threw around. And I mean, that definitely played a really big role, or like, you know, is a big player in why I chose Manitoba, because I believe that Dez is the best quarterback in U Sports.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, he could throw the football.
Yeah.
What do you bring to the game? They've got that Macho Bockru. They got a breakaway guy. They've got Kazama. He can stretch the defense. What do? You seem like you're fast and quick. Are you quicker than you are fast? Tell us a bit about your game.
You know, I'm definitely pretty quick. I think I'm fast as well. I'm thinking I can bring a lot of speed to the team. I mean, like you said, AK can take the top off, and we got Macho too, like two great ball players. And you know, I think our skill sets complement each other. And you know, I'm a catch and run guy. I like to catch the ball. I can catch the ball out of the backfield, catch the ball on a swing route, you know, or run a slant over the middle. I'm a big run after the catch kind of guy. So if I can get the ball in open space, you know, I'm hoping to electrify the crowd a little bit.
Well, the people would see that by looking at your highlight tape before this interview. 5'10", 170 roughly. Are you a good route runner? Like, it looks like you can get separation. Do you think that's the key to your game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's going to be different for me. Running routes in the Canadian game is a little bit different than the American. It's a little bit different, but it's fun. They got a lot more space.
Yeah.
You know, I can kind of use my change of pace on guys more, and utilize the big field. Right. I got a lot of space from the hash to the sideline. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Out in BC in high school, did you play 4-down football? Like, if you played 4-down football all the way through?
Yeah.
Wow, that will be neat for you. It'll take
because it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, you don't think about it when you're talking to a Canadian kid that he'll have to adjust to the Canadian game, but that is something you're gonna have to do. What do you think that's the most the pre-snap motion is the most exciting thing for you?
Oh yeah, I've never in my life experienced the waggle, and like, it's unfair. It's not fair for me to have a 15-yard head start running full speed at somebody who stands.
Yeah, who'd want to be a D-back in the Canadian game? Right. I've always said, if you're big,
off to those guys.
Yeah, if you're big and you can cover, you'll get paid at the next level because that's the way it is. What are you going to take in school, Gavin? Have you figured that out?
I'm taking sociology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent, man.
I'm not really too sure what I want to do with it, but that's kind of what I was doing at SFU. I was going to do a joint sociology and education. But at Manitoba, the education program is like a postgraduate thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to do sociology and kind of see where that takes me.
You come from a big family, or you have any siblings?
I'm an only child. I'm here at my mom's place. You can see all the shrine there.
She's been a big influence in your life?
Yeah, I mean, both my mom and my dad, I lived with them growing up.
Yeah.
And I mean, my dad's from Texas.
Yeah.
And he played football growing up, but he was a basketball player.
Okay.
He played basketball for Texas Tech in university.
Oh, neat.
And Abilene Christian. Yeah, he played at some pretty big schools playing basketball. And my mom, she's a big football fan. She plays football herself. She plays flag football.
Oh, that's cool. Do you go out in the yard and throw with your mom? Because a lot of kids can't do that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, and they definitely shaped me to the man I am today. Competitive nature, athleticism, like all that stuff came from my parents. So
I love that story, man. Were you a two-sport athlete, multi-sport athlete? Did you like basketball or?
Yeah, I played basketball in high school. I ran track in high school. Growing up, I played a lot of sports. I played a bit of lacrosse, some soccer. But football was really, like, as soon as I strapped the pads on for the first time, I knew football was for me. And basketball was good. I think I could have been a really good basketball player, but I think that was my dad's sport. He was pretty. He was sad when I told him, "Hey, I don't want to play basketball at the next level. I'm a football player."
Do you give us a challenge of being an only child growing up with, by yourself? You obviously you have two high achieving parents. What's it like being an only child?
I had to find a lot of ways to entertain myself. I used to go in my backyard and I'd play basketball by myself, running up and down like the little court I had. And I'd count down 5, 4 to hit the buzzer beaters. And then, I end up breaking some things. Like, my mom loved to have the like little garden lights.
Yeah.
I broke a lot of those growing up. So, I had to find ways to entertain myself as an only child. But I had a great group of friends growing up too. I lived in a great neighborhood, and I had a lot of friends nearby. So, like, it wasn't too bad growing up as an only child. Yeah,
you sound like a real well-spoken dude. So, but let me ask you this question before I let you go. two more questions. How nervous are you to move away, to take the weather out of it? Not easy moving away, and you're moving away 3 provinces away now from where the family is.
You know, it's different. It's definitely different. It's a cool experience though. I mean, I've been away from home for a few years now, being over in Vancouver. Like, I'm not far from home, but it's away. And you know, going out to Winnipeg, it's cool. It's cool to learn like a new city and meet new people and just explore. I loved exploring. Like, I went to the Assiniboine Forest and I checked out Grand Beach and some things in Winnipeg. Like, it was really cool exploring a new city and learning new faces and all that.
Awesome. And lastly, what's your personal goal for this season when we get on the field? What can we expect from Gavin Cobb? What is your personal goal here?
Well, I mean, just being voted onto this list, you know, the bar has been set, the expectations are set high, and you know, my goal is just to exceed the expectations. I want to be number 1 on this list by the time I'm done playing. Yeah. You know,
that's good. That's good, man. I'll tell you what, it is interesting because nobody, I haven't told anybody where they are on the list. I'm not going to tell you, but to be on this list and not played in this league, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, the coach has set his expectations for me, and I love it. I love to have a little bit of added pressure. You know, they say diamonds are formed under pressure. So hopefully I can just, you know, take this as it comes, and then, you know, I'm gonna just, you know, take this time that I have back at home, back in BC. I'm gonna make myself the best football player I can be. When I get to Winnipeg, you guys are going to see a Gavin Cobb you've never seen before.
So mom's in the backyard covering you.
Yeah.
What route are you running on mom to get open?
I would like to hit her with just a little straight dig route.
Yeah.
I run 10 to 12 yards. I hope she is playing a bit off coverage. She's pressing me. It's there's a little bit off.
I was going to say that. What if your mom presses you? You're going to have to jam your mom.
Oh no, I couldn't do it. Oh, I have the funniest story as a kid, man.
Yeah.
We used to play, me and my dad, my mom would play in the backyard playing football, and I was playing defense on my mom one time. And I guess I was probably 8, maybe 9 or 10, somewhere around there. I was a young kid, and I had just finished playing a football game of my own. And we're in the backyard playing, and my mom is running just a vertical route kind of down the side.
Yeah.
And I came over and just tackled her out of nowhere, and everyone's like, "Yo, like, why would you hit your mom like that?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even realize we were playing football."
Did you get to eat that night?
Oh yeah. It was okay. Everyone understood, you know.
Mom, hey, if mom's a football player, she gets it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey man, thanks for your time. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can bring to the CanWest conference.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to getting on the football field again. Hopefully it's sooner than later.
Man, I'm having a really good time talking to these student athletes here as we inch closer to the top player in USPORTS football in Western Canada. We'll reveal that next time out. Make sure you tune in.